There are common pregnancy symptoms that everyone talks about, but there's also very weird ones that may catch you off guard and are just completely odd and no one warns you about. So we are going to go through those in this video. And if you're new here, I'm Naomi. I'm a first-time mama and I'm 1 month postpartum. I normally have my baby girl strapped to me, but she is with her Grammy today, spending time with her. So just me in this video. But let's go ahead and get into these weird pregnancy symptoms that may catch you off guard. First, I want to start with your spouse gets pregnancy symptoms. And this is so crazy. My husband and I were so blown away by this, that the men can actually get pregnancy symptoms. They can actually take the pregnancy symptoms from the woman, or they can kind of experience them with the woman. This was crazy. My husband literally experienced insomnia. He experienced a heartburn. What else did he experience? Weight gain. It was absolutely crazy. Of course, I was gaining weight because I was pregnant. So this is one of the symptoms that we shared, but he was also gaining weight too. So that is the first one that I had to start with because that just completely threw me off guard. The next weird pregnancy symptom is growing feet. Like, how do your feet grow from pregnancy? Like this one is really weird. And some women even get a half size to a full size extra added to their foot and have to completely change their shoe wardrobe, if that's what that's called. But that is absolutely crazy. I don't know how this works. I know there's a lot of different hormones going in the body that could be a result of this growth in the feet, but that's just so odd. The next one is vivid dreams. And if you are already a dreamer like myself, I already have very vivid dreams, but I did notice that my dreams got even more vivid with pregnancy. So if you aren't a dreamer, then maybe you will start to experience dreams. Or if you're already a dreamer like myself, then you may even begin starting to have even more vivid dreams that maybe feel even more real. The next weird symptom is a little annoying, but excessive hair growth everywhere. Literally in like the first trimester, it's just like excessive hair growth, armpit hair, leg hair, stomach hair, pubic hair, everything is just growing faster. So I noticed that in my first trimester and even like part of my second trimester, before I really got a big baby bump, anytime I would shave my armpits, shave like my what's this called, your happy trail. Everybody has a little happy trail, but every time I would shave my happy trail or my legs, it would literally grow back extremely fast, like faster than before. My hair already grows pretty fast, but it was growing back like next day. It was crazy. Like I would have to shave like every 2 days just to keep the hair off. But once I reached a certain point, like the second half of my second trimester is when I really noticed that hair growth slowed down. And I even noticed that the hair on my belly stopped growing as my belly I don't know if it's because my skin was stretched and so like those hair follicles didn't produce a hair, but I did notice that I didn't have to shave my belly as much later in my pregnancy once it was bigger because the hair just didn't grow as much. So it was very excessive up front and kind of tapered away as my pregnancy went on. The next weird symptom that definitely caught me off guard was darkening of the skin, but in certain places that made it very weird and caught me off guard. The first one is darkening of the nipples and your areolas on your breasts. They grow in size for one, and they also get very dark. And I was just completely shocked by this. I didn't even know this was a thing. Of course, I was definitely expecting the breast growth because, you know, the breasts are preparing to produce milk and things like that. But I was not expecting for my nipples and areolas to darken in color. So expect that one. It was very odd, but most women do experience this. And sometimes it does go back to its normal color in some cases, and in some cases it doesn't. So I'm now 1 month postpartum and it has not changed in color any. I know I'm still very soon after giving birth, but I'm not really expecting for it to go back in color. I'm just kind of taking it up as it's going to stay this color for sure. The next weird symptom is congestion and nosebleeds. And I'm sure this is probably because of all the extra blood volume that's going during pregnancy. I actually did experience some congestion early on in my pregnancy, and then my congestion just kind of went away, like as my pregnancy went on. And then I did experience one nosebleed during my pregnancy that just kind of came out of nowhere. But as far as the congestion goes, this is actually a really interesting one because I started off my pregnancy experiencing some congestion, and then I got to a point to where I was less prone to congestion because I have never been the kind of person who could sleep under a ceiling fan or under a fan blowing in my face. It would make me congested. So my husband has to sleep with the fan on. So we came to a middle ground. He sleeps with the fan on because it keeps the room cool for both of us, but it helps him sleep better. And then I just throw the blanket over my head, and that typically helps. But I noticed halfway during my pregnancy, whenever my congestion stopped, I was able to sleep under the fan without having my face covered. And so it's like I was less prone to getting congested with the fan blowing in my face. And it was very odd. But now being postpartum, I've been trying that again, sleeping with the fan on. And I get congested now. So that was a really interesting thing, just to see how my body went from getting congested to not getting congested at all with the fan, and then now back to being congested. So I'm not sure what kind of hormones and things like that were at play during that time, but it's just so amazing to see how our bodies adjust and adapt and change during pregnancy. The next symptom is a little more known, but still weird. It's constipation. And this one is really, really tough because one, you have a lot of hormones going that create this constipation, mainly in like the first and second trimester. But it's really annoying because when you feel constipated and backed up, that just doesn't help with all the other discomforts and other symptoms that come with pregnancy. But the constipation was one that I definitely didn't really know about. I wasn't really expecting this one. So I had to do some things to help me with the constipation. And that's something that you can look into as well if you experience constipation, different things to help you with that. But this one was definitely very uncomfortable, but it does go away, thankfully. For mine, I experienced it essentially the first like half of my pregnancy, and then the second half I was a little more regular, but this was definitely a weird one and not very fun either. The last weird symptom is popping and clicking in your pelvis. And this was something that I noticed like when I would be laying down and would get up for the day, like after sleeping and getting up for the day, or sitting down on the couch for a long period of time and then standing up, I would notice that I would hear popping and clicking in my pelvis. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I thought it was maybe from just the way that I was sitting or laying down, or the amount of time that I was sitting or laying down, but I realized that it was my body changing in pregnancy. And it's something that I didn't notice until really in like my third trimester. And this makes sense because our bellies are a lot larger in our third trimester, and our weight is shifting forward, and there's just a lot more weight and pressure on our pelvis. And so this one, it makes sense, but it did throw me off guard because, like I said, when I would get up, I would hear that popping and clicking, and it would just sound really weird. I'm like, okay, I'm still in my 20s. I'm not old. Why are my hips popping and clicking like this? I work out. I was keeping myself mobile. I was stretching and doing all the things. I worked out throughout my entire pregnancy. So I was just like, why are they popping and clicking? But it is a symptom that you may experience, most likely will experience at some point throughout your pregnancy, but more so probably towards the end when your belly is bigger and your pelvis is doing a lot more shifting. Your weight is shifting forward because of all the weight that you've gained and also your big belly. So that wraps up all these weird, little talked about symptoms that you may experience during pregnancy. A lot of them definitely caught me off guard. Some of them I experienced, some of them I didn't. Thankfully, I did not experience the growing feet one because that is really weird. But if there are any other weird symptoms that you've heard about or that you've experienced yourself, definitely leave them down in the comments below. And if you're not already, make make sure you subscribe, and I wish you the best on your pregnancy journey.